Hi everyone, welcome to this course on Database CLI. It is known as DBCLI on Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. My name is Bal Sharma. I am part of Oracle Cloud Infrastructure team. Before I proceed, I want you to go through our safe harbor statement. The agenda for this session is to explain what is DBCLI, where it is applicable to use for Oracle database management activities, various options which are supported by DBCLI, and at the end I would be able to show you a few examples of using this tool. So database CLI is a command line interface which is available on bare metal as well as virtual machine database systems. Once you connect to a database system, you can use the database CLI to perform various activities such as you want to create a Oracle database or create a new database home. So these are the purposes for using database CLI. One thing to note here is database CLI is not for use on Exadata DB system. So you won't be able to use this DBCLI on Exa-based systems. The CLI has to be run by the root user and it is located under OPT Oracle DCS/bin directory. And by default, it is path in the root user's environment. It also maintains log, and those logs are known as dcscli.log as well as dcsagent.log, and that is applicable with each command output, and they are stored under OPT Oracle DCS log directory. Database CLI commands and most of the parameters are case sensitive, so you should be typing it correctly. Few parameters are not case sensitive, so you should always look at the parameter description. So new commands are added to database command line interface and other commands are updated to support new features. So database CLI command syntax can be represented as DBCLI command followed with parameters, where command is a verb object combination such as create database. So another thing you have to keep in mind is user specified parameters are shown within the angle bracket. So for example, if you want to show DB home ID, in the parameter description you will see in the angular bracket. So you have to omit the angular bracket when specifying these values. In order to update CLI utility, you have to use CLI update commands, and the command looks like CLI ADM update DBCLI. So CLI ADM update DBCLI command is not available on 2-node rack database systems on a virtual machine offering, so just keep that in mind. So looking at database CLI syntax as well as update commands, so as we see in CLI ADM update, DBCLI is going to update the CLI option on these data management platforms. So here -h represents help and J is for JSON output, and both of these are optional parameters. You should be updating the CLI to ensure you have the latest patching commands because older database system might not include them. So in order to use, you need to SSH to database system as OPC user, and as I said, you need to also sudo to root user because root is going to use this database CLI commands. For logging, you will be using SSH-i private key opc@db system IP address, and then you can do sudo su- that will take you to root prompt. And by root user, you would be able to update the CLI by using CLI ADM update DBCLI command. So in the right side, you see it will open up a job details window, and that will tell you that DCS CLI is patching here. And once that will be updated, you should be able to verify the updated package. So now let's talk about database CLI database commands. And there are many database operations which is supported through DBCLI, such as DBCLI clone database or create database, delete database operation. You would be able to describe the database, list all the databases for a database home. You can modify the database parameters. You can use it for recovery purpose. You would be able to register a database or update any parameters with databases. So one of the note is use the DBCLI's create database command to create a new database. You can create a database within a new or existing Oracle database home. However, each database home can only have one database. So it takes basically a few minutes to create the database once you run the DBCLI create database command. And you can always track the activity using DBCLI this jobs command to check the status of database creation job. Another thing to note is DBCLI create database command is available on a bare metal database system only. It's not available on a virtual machine DB system. The next point is you must create and activate a master encryption key for any PDB that you are going to create using DBCLI. So after creating or plugging in a new PDB on a 1 or 2 node rack DB system, you can use the DBCLI update TDE command to create and activate a master encryption key for that particular PDB. If you miss, you would be able to see a ORA 28374 message that type master key is not found invalid when attempting to create a table space in the PDB. So in a multi-tenant environment, each PDB has its own master encryption key, which is stored in a single key store, and that is used by all the containers. The link that describes all the supported database command list, which is supported through DBCLI. Further looking into a few of the database specific commands, DB home commands are like DBCLI create database home or describe DB home, delete database home, list and update database home. Similarly, for database storage related commands are you would be able to list the DB storage which is available on your database system. You can describe them, you can create a DB storage, or you would be able to delete DB storage. You can deal with the backup commands for creating a backup configuration, or you want to see the status of a running backup or schedule a backup. So these all commands are possible using DBCLI. And for further details, you can look into the link below. So there are another important aspect here is to deal with object store swift commands. So you can basically back up a database to an existing bucket in OCI object storage, and you can use DBCLI create backup command. So the steps goes as like create an object storage on the database system by using DBCLI create object storage store swift command, and you would be creating a backup configuration that is going to refer to that object storage ID and the bucket name using backup config command, and then you need to associate the backup configuration with the database by using the DBCLI update database command. So 3 commands you will be using in order to take advantage of this DBCLI. And the other commands which are available to manage object storage are create object store swift or describe object store swift and list object store swifts. So now let's take a look at a few of the command operations, like how these are done. So first example I'm showing you, you want to create a database and you can use DBCLI create database command. The syntax will look like DBCLI create database -db name. You need to specify the name of the database. Then you are going to specify the database home ID, which you will get from the DBCLI list db home command. So this DBCLI list db home command is going to return you the ID for those database homes. So you will pick one of them, and then you need to pass the admin password. So once you launch this command, you will be able to see that a job is created and database is going to be created with the name you specify. For checking a status of DBCLI list db home, you can always do that DBCLI list db homes, and it will show you the all available database homes. You can list the databases using DBCLI command, and simply you have to put DBCLI list databases, and it will tell you with respect to each of the database home ID what is the name of the database which are associated. So in my case it is BMS prod or DB11G or DemoDB, which are part of these database homes, and it also shows you what are database versions, whether it's CDB or what is the shape of that one, what kind of a storage it uses, and DB home IDs. You will be able to list the database storage configured using DBCLI command, and it shows what kind of a storage is in use. So on my database system, I have ACFS storage used as well as ASM storage for databases. So definitely this ACFS storage represents I might have a 11G database on a bare metal system. You would be able to delete a database using DBCLI delete command, and as soon as you will launch that one, it takes some time, and then it will come up with the prompt that database is deleted. You can create a new database home of any version. So using DBCLI, create db home -v and the version name. So that way you would be able to create a new database home. So just to summarize, we try to understand what are the different features supported using database CLI, and also understood the applicability of database CLI based on a certain use case. And for more information, you can look at our link below, like OCI training and certification page, as well as OCI hands-on labs page, or our learning library, which are available on YouTube. So thanks for watching, and I hope this session was useful.